Hey, Crush It Cuties, it is Carolyn. Today we're going to be talking about the complete opposite of most of our discussions, and that is weight gain and how to gain weight, how to do it responsibly, how to build curves, how to get the hourglass figure, the squat booty, the thighs to match. Um, when you don't have the genetics to do so. I think people forget that there are different body types. There are three major body types. There's the ectomorph, who is long and lean and has difficulty building muscle. Typically, the model type bodies that do anything and everything to gain weight and don't. My sister is one of them. This chick can eat a pizza and a case of beer and wake up in the morning and take a picture and have a six pack, and I want to slap her in the face. I am a mesomorph. I when I work on my diet, I do have a high metabolism. I do pack on muscle very quickly. My muscle is very responsive to exercise. And then there's an endomorph who is more of the pear-shaped body type, puts on a lot of pounds very quickly, does not metabolize food very quickly, does not build muscle very quickly. So you're kind of in the middle ground of you can't build muscle and you hold fat, so you're kind of screwed. So you have a lot of work to do. But I think people forget that the ectomorphs, the long, lean, muscular people, the long, lean people have a lot of work to do when they don't want that body type. Watching my sister over the years try and gain weight and build muscle was practically painful. She's the one who got me into lifting weights back when I was 26, and she lifted for 2 years. I walked into that gym, and within 2 weeks, I was out lifting her after being non active from about 18 to 26. Maybe a little bit of rollerblading, maybe a game of ball in the park, you know, nothing crazy, but 2 weeks of lifting, and I was out lifting her 2 years of progress. So those people have a lot of challenges against them, and I don't think they get enough credit for the amount of work they do to change their bodies. So today's discussion is kind of going to be focused on that type of person, because being curvaceous, having a booty, having thighs is becoming more socially acceptable. It's becoming more of a goal for most women. And I don't think women know how to get it. And unfortunately, as women, we have a lot of other stigmas we're going to battle at the same time, and they're going to contradict one another. You shouldn't eat carbs. You shouldn't eat more than 1,500 calories a day. You shouldn't do a million things in the world of health and fitness, quote unquote, for women. If you want to build a body and you want to build muscle, you have to wrap your head around food. So that is the first point of the discussion we're going to cover, and that is food, diet. I am going to use a 125-pound girl as my example. I know it's probably an average, and I'm not going to say height or anything. I'm just saying pure poundage. If you weigh yourself, that's what I'm going to go off of for the numbers I'm going to throw at you. So to maintain your body and what you do to it. So for me, as someone who has been in the gym for over 8 years, bodybuilding for about 4.5, 5, I maintain my protein levels at 1 gram of protein per pound I weigh per day. So that is me maintaining what I do every day. That's not growing, that's not shrinking, that's me weighing 165 pounds and me eating 165 grams of protein a day, on top of carbs, fats, fibers, all of the things. If you want to grow, you have to wrap your head around eating 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound you weigh per day. And that might not sound like a lot until we get into some of the numbers I'm about to throw at you. So I'm going to go in the middle. So 1.5 grams of protein per pound you weigh when you're 125 pounds. That's 188 grams of protein a day. That's 5 meals at 38 grams of protein. That is, off the top of my head, 5 eggs in a meal 5 times a day. It's a shit ton of food. So please bear with me, wrap your head around this. 1.75 grams of protein per pound you weigh is going to be 219, which is 44 grams of protein per meal 5 times a day. And I'm rounding, of course, on this, but not by much. So if you want to gain weight, if you want to build curves, you have to wrap your head around eating. You can't have 1,000 calories, 1,200 calories a day and think you're gonna get a squat booty, because that squat booty is gonna eat those 1,000 calories in an hour. So please, if this is going to be your goal, take the time to wrap your head around the numbers and how you're going to achieve them in a day with food. Because food, whether you're gaining or losing weight, will always be the biggest battle. You will find something you enjoy in the gym, you will find a class, you will find a trainer, you will find something physically active to get your calorie output up. Getting your calorie intake in and like up and down, that is the hard part. So for this, a lot of girls have the issue with the calories and what society tells them to eat. So I'm going to try and break it down as simply as I can for you in the most nutritious way possible. So 4 calories are in 1 gram of protein. So if you are the 125-pound girl I'm using as the example, and you are doing, we're going to go on the mid, and we're going to go 1.5 grams of protein. So you're not doing a ton of growing, but you're starting to work out in the gym, you're doing body weighted exercises, you're starting to squat, you're starting to learn. 1.5 grams. So that is your 188 grams of protein per day. That alone on your caloric intake is 752 calories. That is just your protein. That is nothing but protein. That is ignoring the fact that that chicken breast you ate has other calories in it also. So if almost 800 of your calories is coming strictly from your protein, you have to wrap your head around eating the rest of the food. So protein and carbs both have 4 calories per gram. I would say if you're going to maintain or try and gain weight, you want to be at least 1 gram of carb per pound you weigh every day. So if this 125-pound girl eats 125 grams of carbs, that is another 500 calories a day in carbs. Now, the one thing that people forget also, fat. Fat is so important. Whether you are trying to lose weight, gain weight, your body uses fat as a vehicle for vitamins and minerals and nutrients. It holds on to it when it doesn't know it's getting it. It lets go of it when it knows it's getting it. Fat is so important in your diet. And I don't mean cheese and dairy and ice cream and chocolate. I mean olive oil, coconut oil, nuts, nut butters, avocados, egg yolks, salmon, things like that have good essential fatty acids in them. Now, fat is not carbs and it is not protein, and it has 9 calories per gram. So the kind of rule of thumb on a more bodybuilder style diet is 0.5 gram of fat per pound you weigh. So back to my 125-pound girl, we're going to round her to 63 grams of fat in a day. That's 567 calories. So if you take this 125-pound girl who's trying to gain weight and she has strictly protein, carbs, and fat. That's 752 grams of protein, 500 grams of carbs, 567 grams of fat. That's 1,819 calories in a day, excluding everything else in life. That is no coffee, that is no fiber, that is no seasonings, that is nothing else. That is pretty much her eating oats with coconut oil and egg whites 5 times a day. So you can imagine if she was eating a meal that had broccoli, Brussels sprouts, peppers, a salad with a dressing on it, because we enjoy life because we're crush it cuties and we do not deprive ourselves of things, we moderate them. You're gonna be at 22 to 2,500 calories easy in a day at 125 pounds. You have to wrap your head around that because you need that to grow. And not only do you need that on the days you're training, you need those on your off days as well. You can kind of play with your carbs on the days you're not training because carbs give you energy to train and they run your brain and all of the important things. But if you have enough to function for the day, you can kind of cut those out on your off days as long as your proteins stay high, your fats stay high, your calories don't drop too low. But you need to eat like a beast to be a beast. You don't get to have salad and chicken and no dressing and no avocado and no food and think you're going to get a body, because you're not. Your body is going to turn to its one biggest source of nutrients, which is its healed muscle, to fuel itself. You are going to eat yourself trying to build yourself. It'll be a vicious cycle and it'll be awful. So you have to sit down at the beginning of your workout plan and figure out how you're going to do this. I always suggest protein shakes, not a lot of them, maybe 2 a day, and try and cut that down as you progress. I know a lot of people do not eat breakfast, so I love blended protein shakes in the morning. Get your kale, get your avocado, get your protein powder, get your greens, all of the good things, some frozen berries, get some sugars in there, which are more calories. Accept them, love them. It's a great way to start your day, and drink it versus eating it to get your body in the habit of having food in it first thing in the morning. Also, that shake post-workout is going to be very important. You have an anabolic window of about 30 to 45 minutes after you train that your body is going to need food before it turns your body into food. So as soon as you hit that locker room in the gym, you should be shaking a shake with a shaker cup. These are great ways to get huge amounts of protein into your body very quickly. You can do a scoop and a half or 2 scoops of protein powder and not be massively full. And the joy of getting it done in the locker room post-workout is that in about an hour and a half, you're going to be hungry, which is going to open up meal 5 or meal 6 for you, and you're actually going to be hungry versus, I know when I'm done a heavy training day, I'm starving, but I don't want anything in my stomach. My hands are shaking, my legs are shaking, my body is sore, I'm toast. I don't want to eat, but I can definitely drink something. And so my post-workout shakes become very important to me, because if I don't drink them, I will not eat, and I will have wasted my entire workout, because my body will then turn to its muscle to fuel itself, and I will have just destroyed everything I've built. So let's say you do 2 shakes a day and maybe do 2 scoops of protein, and that's 40 to 50 grams of protein per day. You're at 80 to 100 grams out of your, around 200 that you need to be at. So figure out the math, pull up some charts online. You can email me, I can send you some food charts of kind of how much of what protein you need to reach each gram. Like 3.5 grams of chicken is 25 grams of protein. 3 eggs is 25 grams of protein. You know what I mean? Like, there's easy ways to do it, and there's easy ways to do it so that you're not living off of some list. You have the ballparks in your head, because if you're not dieting down for a show or for a shoot or for something to diet down to, you have wiggle room. If you go over or you go under, you have wiggle room. Back to my last post of the holiday season is thinking of your weeks in weeks, and you might go under one day, but you're over the next. And by the end of the week, your caloric intake and your caloric output will be equal, or your caloric, intake will be a little bit higher because you are trying to gain weight. And you can balance things out if you think of them in weeks and don't stress over days, because life happens and you skip a meal or you fall asleep or you sleep in and you skip something and you grab something on the go, and then all of a sudden you've had this muffin from Starbucks that is 500 calories. It's just like, oh my God, there's 500 calories and no protein. What do? But at least you're fueling your body, and life happens. And we're Crush It Cuties, and we roll with it, and we move on, and we roll with the punches. Just wrap your head around how much food you need to eat to be a bodybuilder. And I'm not saying you need to be a bodybuilder, but you want to build a body. That's not fucking science. Like, if you want to build a body, you want to be a bodybuilder. Maybe not to the professional level, but you want to be in the gym, and you want to play, and you want to build and critique and tweak, and you want to do what we do because it's fun. That takes practice, and it takes discipline, and it takes acceptance of things that are against society's rules. That's why there's not a lot of us, because we break the rules and we don't go with the grain of everyone else. And that's what's the fun of it. We're different. So with food kind of taken care of for you guys, once again, contact me at crushitwithcarolyn.com. Let me know. I can definitely answer any questions. You can also email info@indiegirlworld.com, and you can ask them questions and they will forward them on to me. We can dig deeper, but just eat. Just do it. It's not scary. If it's clean, it's not fast food, there's not a lot of extra chemicals, there's not a lot of extra calories. The cleaner your food, the less fat you will put on with your muscle. So, which kind of segues me into part 2 of, if you want to gain muscle, you have to be okay with gaining weight and gaining fat. It comes as a package. So you've probably seen the memes on Instagram. You've heard all of the jokes of bulking season and cutting season. It is a thing. Don't think it's just a joke. It comes from somewhere. So if you want to put on muscle, you have to put on weight. Now, you can dig a little bit deeper, and there's dirty bulks and clean bulks. There is the guy or girl that will eat anything and everything to put on just weight. Just put on the weight, pack on the pounds, lift heavy ass shit, and chisel it down later. Then there's the clean bulk, where it's harder because you have to eat all those calories, but you have to eat all those calories in a clean way, which is a lot harder to get 3,000 calories of clean food versus 3,000 calories of dirty food. You can go to McDonald's and get 2 meals and hit way over 3,000 calories. To get 3,000 calories of chicken and rice and egg whites and broccoli and all of that stuff, way more food is ingested. So yes, clean bulking is a lot more difficult, but it's a lot more healthy, and it'll get you to your desired goal faster, because yes, you put on weight with both, but the amount of fat you put on with a dirty bulk versus a clean is completely different. So yes, you will gain weight when you bulk, but be okay with that and the fact that there is a timeline to a bulk. You never want to just bulk forever. Make sure that you're like, okay, I'm going to go on a 12-week bulk. I'm going to eat 3,000 calories a day versus 2,000 calories a day. I'm going to do sets of 6 to 8 on all of my workouts. I'm going to lift super heavy. By the end of those 12 weeks, we're going to see what I've come up with, and we're going to chisel it down, and we're going to eat 2,000 calories a day. We're going to do 10 to 12 to 15 reps per set, and we're going to reverse the process and lean it out and do a cutting season and see what that looks like 12 weeks later. So in 6 months, you can do both in a very healthy way and see what you come up with in the end. And then you kind of look at your finished product and you go back to the drawing board and you see where you want to tweak things, what else you want to grow. Was there something that you didn't think you wanted to improve on, but now you do? That's the joy of doing what we do as bodybuilders, is you're never done. You get to keep building, you get to keep creating. You are Play-Doh. You get to look in a mirror and be like, oh, you know what? My front delts are a little bit big, my back delts are a little bit small. Let's switch out my routine and do A, B, and C instead. Oh, I would love my quads to be bigger and my hamstrings to be smaller. Let's switch this. Like, you get to do that, and that's part of the joy of doing what we do. So embrace it, but just be prepared to have the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows that we go through of bulking and cutting and going through those processes to get you to the end result. Because what you think is your end result now, I guarantee you won't be your end result a year from now, because you're going to hit what you thought you wanted in, 5-6 months, and you're going to keep on critiquing, and not in a negative way, but things that you never thought were possible become possible when you've already reached a goal. When you have a body you never thought you would have, you start thinking about how much else you can achieve. And it's an amazing feeling to know that you can have so much more than you ever thought. I know